Hello, Julia. Hello.
Hello, Julia.
Okay. Luca, could you please put an agenda?
Yes, I'm going back to.
Okay. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. So good morning, everyone. I welcome you from the supposed to be sunny Poland today. It was raining yesterday. The weather was awful, but I hope the day will be great. My name is Jan Sienkiewicz, and I'm representing the Regional Development Agency on Bielsko-Biała, which is the project partner from Poland of the project Transfarm 4.0. We are implementing under Interreg Central Europe program with 12 partners altogether from Italy, Austria, Slovenia, Hungary, and finally Poland. The project is tackling with the very innovative issues, which is very like a common agenda, digital agenda of European Union of the current years, which is digitalization of different kind of processes, production processes in the switching from the analog economy to the digital economy, and this is also with regard to the Transfarm project, which has on which is focused on precise farming. This is exactly what we're talking about, the food production and the crop production, and the introduction of the digital technologies in preparation of the crops and of crops growing and the crops harvesting. So we are trying to find out which technologies and which are the best in enlarging or extending the proficiency and the safe production of the different crops. During the project, we are going to implement different technologies, different pilot actions in different locations with regard to the proximity centers, with regard to the digital data, and with regard to the isobus installation and isobus implementation. So all the different technologies and different implementation will be investigated, and we will prepare like a report. During the project, also we will tackle the problem of introducing the precise farming and digital technologies in agriculture in the digital agendas of the policy makers, of the policies in different countries, and we will have some training and some propositions and some suggestions to the political level to include or enlarge the intervention in the agriculture in different countries. Today's training is dedicated to the latest achievement and the trends and research and development works which are going on in different parts of the world, and we will focus on agricultural technologies represented here in Poland, as we are the main organizer of this event, and our speakers will be talking about trends and directions in technology development in agriculture, about procedures and principles of technology transfer, which are going on the mostly universities in Poland, and how to build clusters and how to enlarge the network of cooperating companies, cooperating research and development units, and how to implement and how to put into force the into the field the new developments and new technologies. Our presenters will be talking about this, and we have Marco Dello Russo from Italy. We have Mr. Jerzy Pruchnicki, Mr. Tomasz Czech, and Mr. Wojciech Przywała, which are representing University of Agriculture from Krakow. Also my alma mater. I was used to studying. I hope that we will have the very nice agenda, as you see. That will be we will talk about interesting topics, and there will be question and answer session after every presentation. So we have a lot of attendance on this meeting, and also we streaming it online on YouTube, and there's also a lot of interest over there. So this is the introduction to our today's meeting, and I will give the floor to Mr. Marco Dello Russo. He will talk about the EU programs which are supporting precise farming and different technologies in agriculture. Marco, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, and I will share with you my screen in order to show you my short presentation. Just a second. Did you see this short presentation? Do you see the first slide?
Yes, we see it, yes.
Perfect. Well, firstly, let me introduce myself. Good morning, everybody. My name is Marco Dello Russo from Naxta, which is the private consulting company that actually supporting CREA, the lead partner of this project, Transfer 4.0. And today we are going to show some of the new EU programs in the next programming period that, according to our opinion, will be very important in the supporting the precision farming and agriculture 4.0. We have selected just 2 programs because, of course, we don't have enough time to show you the rest of the EU programming. And these 2 programs are, of course, the Interreg Central Europe 2021-2027 and the Horizon Europe program in the next programming periods. First of all, let me give you some news regarding of both program approvals. And we have to start with an Interreg Central Europe in the next programming period. At the moment, we have the first version of the work program, which was published on September 2020, and the final version of the work program is expected to be approved before summer 2021. So, in essence, the first call for proposal will be published in late summer or maximum in September 2021. Regarding Horizon Europe, the strategic plan was adopted. We have at the moment a work program for the European Research Council within the priority number 1. We have also the work program for the European Innovation Council, which was adopted in March. But at the time, we don't have the work program, which is expected to be adopted in the late April. So in essence, we have to wait in order to apply for the first call for proposal for both programs. Well, we have to start with the Interreg Central Europe 2021-2027. As I said before, at the moment we have the first draft of the work program, and we have the main priorities of the new Interreg Central Europe. Which are the priority 1, a smarter Central Europe through cooperation, priority 2, a greener Central Europe through cooperation, priority 3, a more connected Europe through cooperation, and priority 4, a better governance for cooperation in Central Europe. Of course, priority number 1, a smarter Central Europe through cooperation, and 2, a greener Central Europe through cooperation, are the most suitable priorities for the development of project proposals focused on precision farming and agriculture 4.0. In particular, priority number 2, a greener Central Europe through cooperation, is strictly connected with the Green Deal topics and the Green Deal transition of the European Union for the next programming period. Let me say something about priority number 1. The priority number 1 is composed by 2 specific objectives. The first one is strengthening innovation capacity in Central Europe. Under this specific objective will be financed transnational action addressing mainly green and bioeconomy topics, Industry 4.0 and digital technologies, smart specialization strategy, cultural and creative industries, and of course technology and innovation transfer to small medium enterprises. Regarding the specific objective 1.2, this is more connected with the development of skill for both public entities and small medium enterprises. So under this specific objective will be financed a transnational action addressing skills for Industry 4.0, but also capacity building activities and institutional learning. As for priority number 2, a greener Central Europe through cooperation, as I said before, this priority is strictly connected with the Green Deal topics and with the Green Deal transition adopted by the European Union. And these priorities is composed mainly by 4 specific objectives. The first one, it concerns the support to energy transition. The second one, the increasing of resilience in the climate change in Central Europe. Under the first specific objective will be financed the transnational action addressing renewable energy production, energy efficiency of public building, greenhouse gas emission, energy planning at local and regional levels. While with the second specific objective, the transnational actions will address the climate change resilient and adaptation measures, the climate-proof landscape and the urban planning. And with the last 2 specific objectives, the action is focused particularly on the circular economy and again, to improve the resilience to climate change in the Central Europe. As you can see, in the specific objective 2.3, transnational action will address the waste prevention and management topics. With the specific objective 2.4, the transnational action will address the biodiversity conservation and recovery, the protection of natural heritage, ecosystem and valuable areas. So again, these 2 priorities are the most suitable to develop a project proposal dedicated, focused on precision farming and agriculture 4.0. That's it for the European, the Interreg Central Europe 2021-2027. Move on Horizon Europe, within the next programming period. This slide shows one of the most common figures that you can find regarding the new programming period of Horizon Europe. And as you can see, this new program, just the previous one, Horizon 2020, is divided in 3 pillars. Pillar number 1, excellence science. Pillar number 2, global challenges. And pillar number 3, innovative Europe. Also regarding the budget of the Horizon Europe, as you can see, the excellent science pillar has an amount allocated by the European Union of 25.8 billion of euros. The pillar number 2, global challenges, at the moment is the most consistent in terms of budget, because are allocated 52.7 billion of euros under this pillar. Excellent science is the pillar number 1, and within this pillar would be financed action addressing mainly researchers and of course university, as well as the mobility of researchers with, for example, the Marie Curie action that will support the researchers with the new knowledge and skills through mobility and training, but at the same time will be supported actions financing research infrastructure within the priority number 3 of the pillar number 1. Concerning the pillar number 2, global challenges, this one of the most, has to say, holistic pillar within Horizon Europe, because within this pillar will be addressed a lot of topics. In fact, the pillar number 2 is called global challenges. So, for instance, you can see the fact that we can see very different topics regarding this pillar, from digital industry and space to civil security for society, from culture, creative and inclusive society to climate change, energy and mobility, health, and of course we have a very strong topic dedicated to food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and environment. So basically, in terms of a project proposal concerning agriculture 4.0 or precision farming, this pillar could be the most suitable to develop project proposal addressing one of these specific topics, in particular those dedicated to food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and environment. And finally, we have the pillar number 3, which is completely dedicated to innovation, because under this pillar will be financed actions that will go in the innovation direction with the European Innovation Council, through which will be financed the action that will support innovation. The European innovation ecosystem that will connect regional and national actors to support the innovation, and the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. Well, let me be clear. Of course, Horizon Europe is a very big program, and of course 10 minutes are not enough to discuss in deep about this program, but one of the things that we have to remember is in particular the pillar number 2, the global challenges in terms of digital transition and agriculture 4.0, especially regarding the topic dedicated to food, bioeconomy, natural resources, and of course agriculture and environment. Well, I would like to say a lot of things regarding these 2 programs in addition to this, but of course I think my time is over, and so thank you very much for your attention, and of course thank you for listening.
Thank you, Marco. As you said, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of programs, and there's a lot of possibilities we can like apply for. And as I said at the beginning, the farming and the precise farming and digital technologies within the farming are in the focus of innovation interest of many machinery producers, agricultural universities, research and development centers, and all of us. So we'll move on to the trends and directions in technology development and agriculture. And I will ask Mr. Jerzy Pruchnicki, who is an independent agricultural expert working for the Innovation Transfer and Innovation Center at the University of Kraków, to tell us about challenges of the agri-food industries and global trends. And I think that presentation is going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to see it. Mr. Jerzy, the floor is yours.
Hello for everybody. I hope it will be visible what I want to present today. It is
now.
Yes, thank you very much. So hello for everybody once again, and I will show you in the next 30 minutes about what does it mean for us and for people and the human population, what is behind the challenges we have now and in the future for food production and agriculture together. The first, what we should say is we have enough food in the world today. But this is end of the story, because in the future will be different, and we have to act and react on the situation quite quickly. So, showing just in graphical form the challenges we have. This is first the very well-known population, and this is still growing and will be perhaps nearly to 10 billion 2050. We will be faced the food structure changes, because the people is more people, and the people, they will be interested to consume better and not only more. We have still the problem with starving people, and generally this is less percentage of percent of the people, but the number of people, starving people, is growing because the population is growing as well. The food waste, generally or usually you will everywhere hear about the food waste by consumption or by consumers, but food waste is happening everywhere, from early beginning by farm to the consumer. And it's about 40%, what is up to 40%, what is wasted on the production, processing, transportation, and for distribution chain. There will be more people, it will be less land, because people are building ways or some regions are less fertile because of salination or just or erosion as well. And what will be very, very important, and a lot of comments were are possible to hear everywhere, the climate is changing and the temperature of Earth is growing in very dangerous model. And if, the food production have to be doubled nearly when, or at the same time, taking into account that the shortage, or sorry, I will put, yeah, we will expect shortage of resources, and especially by energy, water, soil, and environment. And just to be honest, I want to give some additional comments to this graph, because world population is not only more, but different distributed than today. Please don't forget the climate is warming, and the change of 1 meter of sea level will put about 200 million people out of the places where they are home. It means, and please don't forget, if only on the Greenland the glaciers will disappear, the sea level will grow by 5 meters. We are speaking about 1 meter and 200 million people as climatic refugees. The changes in pattern of consumption is a quality, and especially, and this is really big problem, is increased protein requirements. And the protein is the most expensive product in agriculture. The calories is not very big problem, but protein it is. And especially in Asia and Africa, where human population is growing very quickly. The hunger, 800 million people are starving, but 2 million people are obese. It means the distribution of food, even if it's today enough, is not equal, and perhaps in the future will be the same problem. But it is a connected problem with this world population, because the people from of pure states and regions of the world, they will move to the good and much better regions, especially in the north. Food losses, distribution, processing, storage, and production chain, additionally to the food losses in houses or restaurants. Cultivation area is going down, and maybe if we are speaking about 1 degree Celsius and the results by the yield of rice or wheat, it's maybe not very clear, but because of the climatic changes, we can expect that food production will decrease by 17%. It means it will go down compared to today, having more people and less resources. This is a very, very dangerous. And the next thing is a global production must be almost doubled, not really almost doubled, but the quality of food should be better when energy, water, soil, and environment are really and will be more limited. Maybe yes, the resources. I'm starting with biodiversity. I think the example forest destruction in Borneo is the very, very good example what we are doing with the earth. In 100 or less than 100 years, in 80 years, 70, 80 years, the forest, the original forest in Borneo was completely destroyed, and we have only a few percent of this what was at the beginning, and everything because of change of use of the land to agriculture. And this is not only Borneo. The same or very similar situation we have in the Southern America. In the Europe, we don't have natural environment. We have an environment which is created by man, by human civilization. And this is even co-responsible for the situation when the 1 of 8 million of species, what the living organism on the earth is threatened with extinction. So soil, the another resource, and this is a very sad story because more than 1/3 of earth cultivated land is already suffered with erosion, the wind and especially water erosion. And because of water erosion, a lot of soil is each year lost into rivers and seas, even decreasing quality of water in the rivers. The dramatic example is Kazakhstan, where in the relatively short time, half of century, the half of the soils were destroyed completely. And in Europe, and the European Union is better, but not very good, because we are losing the soil as well. And soil, rebuild the soil, it takes centuries. So with water, we have really a lack of water, and this is scarce resource. As a matter of fact, we can really manage with 0.017% of fresh water, because the all others is or salt water in the oceans, or is in glacier, or is in the earth and soil, and of course it's not manageable for us, as a matter of fact. So we are managing only with really a very, very small percentage of the water available in the world, and more than 1/3 of this rivers, lakes have no good chemical, have a good chemical status. It means the rest hasn't. Yes, and the energy have to be renewable, and it knows everybody, but nowadays this is only 25% of energy production. And the crude oil, natural gas, hard coal, and so on, we have some resource of it, but we know exactly what does it mean for climate changes, and it has to be stopped as soon as possible, just protecting future generation before the wars will come. Economic development generally is derived of the availability of natural resources. I don't know if development is good word. Okay, we are speaking about development, but I think we should think how to continue and develop, because the resources are limited and everything costs a lot. So simple 1 kilo of steak, you will need for it 60,000 liter water and energy sufficient to drive by car 160 kilometers. This is really only 1 kilo of steak and nothing more. And please don't forget, the 75% of the world's freshwater resources is used by agriculture. In some countries like Poland, for example, less, only 40%, but in other countries, much more. And everything costs is possible to recalculate to water or carbon dioxide. Everybody of us is using a mobile phone, and the production of mobile phone is 12,000 liter of water. So, global trends. I will say only about trends in food management and agriculture, and about the necessary transformation. The agriculture of 20th century was, I would say, high developed comparing to the Middle Ages, but it means automatically was more effective or more influential on environment and resources. And the three topics are most important. Is first, reduction of food waste on each place and level, the recycling and reuse of, and very important, not only agricultural waste, and the third, increasing food production while using less resources. And it's especially problematic topic because it's absolutely necessary to use everything what is possible from the technical or technological point of view. Reduction of food waste, I said, okay, we have this 40% of the food which is wasted in the logistic chain by production, distribution, the storage, and so on, and on the top of it, we have the food wasting on the consumer level, and this is half of the mass or tons, and 1/4 of the kilocalories of energy. So this is a reason what we can say that the calories is not very big problem, because the wasted things, they are mainly coming from they are veggies, fruits, and so on. The milk and meat is wasted in a very small percentage. But this is coming on the top of the processing wasting. The recycling and the reuse of not only agricultural waste is important, because this is nowadays not really done or not really accepted by farmers. I'm speaking all the time or mainly about the field farming. Because the circular economy is not only about the one part of economy, it is about all parts of economy together. The individual sectors have to be seen the holistic all as economy of the country, and the everything what is good and bad inside this holistic system is influencing each other. Agricultural use of waste from energy production is very important. For example, the biogas digestate or lignite from brown coal. We shouldn't forget food industry and paper industry with lignosulfonians and such a products which can be used as fertilizers. As well, the sludge from sewage treatment plants, what the farmers don't like, they are just afraid that it can be toxic for the plants, but this is our future and we will not avoid it. Of course, if the target or the principle is to reuse the all waste and from agriculture and from industry and sewage treatments to improve quality of soil, just to regenerate soil, to increase the content of carbon and nitrogen in the soil and improve retention, water retention and biodiversity, not only in the soil, but even in the vicinity of fields. The European regulation is going absolutely in this direction, and in 2019 was published and will come in the first 2022 in July, the new regulation about the fertilizers and fertilization, and it makes possible really widely use of wasted elements, more material, as a fertilizer for agriculture and for food production. It is really very big step in the right direction. And the third, increase food production with less resources. Okay, we are speaking about absolutely new paradigm of agriculture. If you are speaking with the, I would say, normal farmer, and about the new technologies, for them there are maybe some drones, maybe some DSTs, just supportive tools, but we can see this. Okay, everybody have to see this much wider, because this is we have to change from the thinking we want to have wheat and potatoes and I don't know. We have to change this to we have to. What we have to do to optimize, and not to maximize, but to optimize the production and quality, volume, and even price, or this financial stability by agriculture production. The agriculture 4.0, of course, included digital agriculture, circular agriculture, bioeconomy, and so on, using robotics, nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, and machine learning is just this what will be necessary to complete this optimizing. We don't know what is optimum, maybe 5 tons per hectare, maybe 10 tons per hectare on the field production, but okay, this is not question what we are thinking, but what is the reality, and just such new technologies will help us a lot to understand better what we have to do and not what we want to have as a product from each hectare. Maybe the last sentence here is, I think, the very, very basic. Future agriculture is to optimize the use of all resources and processes and to create the abundance of safe food, and but if absolutely necessary, with social acceptance. Yeah, and the second, fields of optimization. And everybody of you who has good ideas or some instruments which can help in this in this segment of optimization. It just should know that it's absolutely crucial for the future farming. Soil management and soil regeneration, carbon restoration. Carbon restoration is something what can reduce the climate, glass houses by 1/6 of the all glass houses which are in atmosphere. It's much more than agriculture is producing themselves, and of course necessary is the protection against erosion, and the easiest way to protect against erosion is to increase the carbon level in the soil. The water management, we know what is happening with water, but water is accumulated not only in reservoirs, but the basic in the absolutely place for water where should be accumulated is soil, and reservoirs and streams and ditches and so on. Fertilizer management, like I said, this is not important what we are thinking. What we should give the plants is really important is what they really need, how we applicate it, what kind of fertilizers we are using. Just because the fertilizer should only help and stimulate soil fertility and not replace it. Biodiversity management, soil organism, plants and environment, because the soil is living organism, is not just substrate. And we have to know what is inside. We will never know exactly what is, but we can see and we can know how it works. And we have to help the soil to be fertile. Plant protection, okay, it was even a few words about the Green Deal. It will be restricted, it will be less and less of plant protection products, at least in Europe. But generally, I think, and the pattern of plant protection products is changing very quickly. And each method which will integrate of chemical, physical, or other methods of the plant protection has a very big value. Seeds optimization, species varieties, especially in the situation we have changes of climate, is very important. And something what is very often quite ignored by farmers, crop density. Each kind of soil and the resources of water is just deciding about the optimal crop density. If the crop will be too less or too much dense, we will have not optimal use of resource like soil, and we will have problems with quality of the product. Mechanization, inclusive minimization of energy consumption. Of course, it can be instead of very big truck or some tractor will be the fleet of small robots working on the field. This is a very good direction, of course, when we have instruments which are able to steer this everything and to combine all information from field, from storage room, from fertilizer and plant protection machinery, and even maybe single cows, how they feel together to plan and work how the farm should work and to product optimal way. Harvesting and storage. This is a place of quite huge loss of produced food, especially by vegetables and fruits, but by grains as well. And the planning the farm activities. This is general organization because farm is producing for market. And the farm, to be sustainable, should be financial stable. If it's not financial stable, will be not sustainable. If will not produce due to the market needs, will be not sustainable too. This is really a lot of place for instruments which will help us to manage it. And on the end, what is very important from the beginning to the end, waste management of non-reusable waste on the farm. That such a waste will not found somewhere in the forest or thrown in the river or something like this. What we know that it is happening quite often. The system have to be just functional. So the global trends in not only in agriculture but in food. I think there are two things important: food character and food structure. The food character, the first, especially in the developed countries, but not only, the food will be more and more important as a safe and sustainable food, healthy for people and planet. And they are, of course, this is not completely new direction, but it will be more and more important, like functional food or high-tech food, included insects, artificial meat and artificial seafood. What is important, more local seasonal food and with known and accepted origin. The people are more and more interested where from the food is coming, because they know, okay, the food is deciding about my health. Yeah, I want to be healthy and I want to help the planet, and I'm interested where my food is coming from. And food structure, yes, food which will need less resources. So it means more vegetables and fruits, less high processed plant food, because processing costs energy, costs time, costs transportation, and is producing wastes. Less beef and pork, or generally red meat, less fish as well, and more milk. With milk, this is quite discutable, because milk is not coming from package. This is coming from dairy cows, but dairy cows are much more effective in the protein production than cattle. So they are general the global trends, and I think it was interesting enough for this time you sacrifice for my presentation. Thank you very much.
Hello. Okay. So we are much ahead of schedule. I think it's more than so. I have a question. You were saying about usable waste, and is it like growing trend that much more waste are not being reused again back in the farm, or it's just in that forestry business you have said before?
No. It's possible because the technology is changing, but we have a category of waste in the farm which are not reusable, like the old fans or the part of machinery and so on. If we will use more machinery or more technology, and especially high-tech technologies, we have to see even the problem that it will be in the time wasted and will be not reused on the farm. In the past, it was only a few elements used in the farm which cannot be reused or recycled on the farm. Now we have more and more because there are even packages, machinery, electronics, and bulbs, and everything what can be even dangerous for environment.
Okay. Does anyone has any questions? Okay, so maybe we can do like this because we are ahead of schedule. So let's make a 10 minutes break, and we will like start at or 15 minutes break. We'll start like 10 minutes after 10 with the presentation of Mr. Wojciech, and then we will like go on further. So thank you very much, and see you in 15 minutes.
Thank you very much.
So welcome back. Is everybody here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So our next speaker is Pan Wojciech Przywała. It's a commercialization specialist from Technology Transfer Center at the University of Agriculture in Kraków, and he'll be talking about technology development at universities. So we will get the information about the transfer of technology in our universities, entrepreneurial spirit, entrepreneurial skills, and examples of pro-innovative actions. So, Mr. Wojciech, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'll try to start my presentation. I believe it will be, everything will be okay. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes, I see it. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, good morning, everyone. And so I'm very glad that I can be here today with you and talk about innovations, technology transfer at our university. I'm representing, first of all, the Innovation Center of University of Agriculture in Krakow Limited, and also the spin-off company Hugo Green Solutions Limited. And my name is Wojtek, and I'm technology broker. I'm a commercialization specialist, and I deal with the commercialization of the results of scientific and research works created at the University of Agriculture in Krakow. And here we have a list of speakers, so it's and the plan of presentation. First of all, IP, so intellectual property. Second, technology transfer. First and next, the analysis of commercialization pathways, model of our Center for Technology Transfer, and this will be very interesting, I guess. So now, how about intellectual property? So in order to verify whether a technology or some product the word no longer exists, it should be done at the very beginning, something like the state-of-the-art examination. And it can, of course, be done with the use of a patent attorney, although usually the help of the creator in correct validation is needed. And independent search is mainly used for the initial verification of the novelty of the solution, and it reduces the costs. And now we have something like copyright and industrial property or know-how. And in fact, the entire process begins with the securing all kinds of rights to the invention of a solution or a new technology through many different forms of security. This is the protection of rights, so copyright, proprietary copyrights, industrial property, inventions, patents, and know-how. So confidential information of a technical nature. This could be characterized like know-how, invention, utility model, new and useful technological solutions, and industrial design. And how about invention? It is understood as a patent, so the protection right is granted regardless of the field of technology for inventions that are new, so not part of the state of the art, and have an inventive step. For the investor, do not clearly follow the state of the art and are suitable for industrial use. And of course, we have a utility model, which is a new and useful solution of a technical nature regarding the shape, structure, and arrangement of an object with a performant form to usefulness of such a solution is expressed in the possibility of achieving a goal or practical importance in the production of use of a product with the features of a utility model. And we also have something like industrial design, which is a creative activity aimed at determining the external features of industrial manufactured items. and which features determine the structural and functional relationship that can make a given industrial design coherent, both from the producers and their user point of view. And of course, know-how. And so in the European Union law, the definition of know-how is included in the Commission regulation, of course, and know-how agreement entitles you to use certain subjective rights. Once one of the parties, so the transferor, supplier granting authority, undertakes to transfer the order to other, so ordering party recipient, some technical or organizational knowledge of a confidential or secret nature, directly use of business activities within the scope specified in the contract. And now we have, now we have the technology transfer, and we can the knowledge and technology transfer system most often includes first of all a functioning technology transfer center, of course, as in our university, or another operator. It could be a special purpose vehicle. We also have this kind of institution, a team of specialists in technology transfer and intellectual property, and design processes and procedures for diagnostic research and development needs of enterprises, and very important advisory support in the field of the best selection of instruments for obtaining external funds, scientific and also entrepreneurs. And for me, very important, because I'm the worker of a special purpose vehicle, assistance in establishing a spin-off or spin-out company. And how about improving the technology transfer process? Very important, modeling and validation of the optimal commercialization pathways, also collecting opinions in the scientific and industrial environment, and permanent consultations with the patent attorney, of course, regarding the legal aspects of selling, making the offered solution available, and TRL scale, so defining the level of our technology, organizing some meetings with scientists in the case of interest of the business side, our daily work, support in supplementing the expert database and laboratories, and very important, searching for partnership solutions in every field of scientific and industrial cooperation. And we have some steps here selected on the slide, and the technology transfer is, of course, broadly understood the process of transferring the results of scientific research, scientific thoughts, processes and patents or original ideas into the economy for practical application. And we have, of course, first of all, giver, now is the transfer, and recipient. And here you have the TRL scale, and we have 9 TRL levels. So the TRL is the technology readiness level, which is used to determine for the technological readiness of a given solution. And technological readiness is nothing else than some stage of the project development from the broadly understood technology industry. And of course, 9 is the highest degree of technological maturity. And the whole process starts with an idea, in fact, and basic technology research. Then is developing of a technology concept, and most of the investment funds or funders, of course, would like the level of readiness of a given solution to be as high as possible, but it's not always possible. So it would be good if the technology was on a second technology level for some enterprises. And now I will show you TRL levels with colors. So of course, as I said, the higher the level of development of the given product or technology is, the greater the chance of potential buyers or investors getting interested in it. And in the graphics, we can see that and the greatest efficiency in terms of the number of signed license agreements is in the case of Trl 7. In example, demonstrating and in operating conditions, although this is not always the case, some investment funds adopt the concept of investing in very risky ideas, but with great potential. So also from the early TRL levels. And now we're going to analysis of commercialization pathways. And there are basic pathways of intellectual property commercialization, like direct or indirect or standalone. And for example, sale of research and development results will be direct commercialization, but something like bringing the results of research and development work to the company will be indirect commercialization. In our case, of course, with SPV, special purpose vehicle in our university. And we can also have something like combined use of the direct and indirect commercialization path will be that standalone commercialization. And let's go to the technological acquisition. And you have the definitions. And as for the transfer of technology, it can be carried out through various types of acquisition. And we can distinguish two forms of transfer of technology: direct or indirect transfer. And conducting the above mentioned activities must also, of course, include a precisely and clearly organized system of monitoring the effects of the activities carried out, both in terms of promotion as well as income and costs. And now I want to show you the technology transfer in terms of risk and necessary commitment. And the type of technology transfer carries various types of risks as well as a diverse amount of work. And thus, the establishment of a new company carries the greatest risk and the greatest amount of work. And the smallest risk and the smallest amount of work involves the sale of technology with a share. For example, in a profit during sales in the merchant income. And we have some definitions like spin-off and spin-out company. And as part of indirect commercialization, the most popular are these two forms, so spin-off or spin-out companies, in which the special purpose vehicle of the university takes the shares of the risk, formal and almost related to the entity. Or also a spin-out company for which the originator give full responsibility, and both but in both cases it is necessary to evaluate the solution that will be treated within one or the other company, so external evaluation, in order not to be accused of some mismanagement. The biggest difference between the two forms is that the spin-off company operates somewhat inside the parent research unit, while a spin-out company is functioning somewhat outside the entity. And let's go to the next slide. Analysis of the commercialization pathways. Also, we can distribution of funds for commercialization of principles of remuneration. So IP regulations provide otherwise the funds obtained by the university for commercialization, which are reduced by no more than 25% of costs related to the commercialization, and are divided according to the following rules. So 50% is going to creator or creators, if our breakdown by percentage of creative contribution, 10% organizational unit competent for the place of employment of the creator, and 40% central level of the university. And of course, in exceptional cases, the contract with the author may, with the consent of the rector, provide for more favorable rules for the distribution of funds for the author or the authors. And let's see how our units are favoring the development of innovation at the University of Agriculture in Krakow. So we have units like Center for Technology Transfer, also Innovation Center at the University Limited, so the company, Academic Business Pre-Incubator of our university, and of course, Academic Incubator of Entrepreneurship. And let's talk something about the innovations. For me, there are many definitions of innovation. It could be a new solution developed by the researcher, which could find a client in the market. And in our normal day, we of course, as a company, so the Innovation Center of our university asks ourselves, together of course with the researcher, how to make an innovation, how to help our researcher in making some innovative solutions. It is very important. And yeah, we are all designers, so we as a team of people believe that there is no innovation without three simple things, like people, of course, who know how to work in a multidisciplinary team, and also creativity and entrepreneurship, which should characterize our scientists. And you have here on in the picture the faculties of our university. We have, for example, the Faculty of Agriculture and Economics, or Faculty of Biotechnology and Horticulture, all agri branches. And now about our technology transfer. We support our researchers in each stage of their work, and of course each stage of the commercialization process. We help our scientists from the idea of the research work to getting a research grant, and we also help in getting a patent or preparation of invention application, and also in protecting a researcher's rights for the invention. At the end, we also help in selling the idea to the market. And we are, of course, focusing on combining business with science. So many meetings with entrepreneurs, big or smaller companies. And our main activity is to stimulate university innovativeness and to enable the full use of the intellectual potential of the academic staff of our university. And the tasks, of course, includes commercialization, conducting activities in the field of intellectual property protection, and building a network of cooperation between the sphere of science and the economy to facilitate and intensify the flow of innovative technologies knowledge. Of course, we have the second institution like SPV, so the Innovation Center of the University of Krakow, which deals in the commercialization of the results of scientific and research works by selling patents, preparing license agreements, creating spin-off companies. And the Innovation Center attaches particular importance to supporting cooperation between science and business and promoting innovative activities. In particular, will be identifying, supporting, and marketing innovations and advanced technology products. And the company supports also the development of adaptation potential of employees, scientists, students, and with particular emphasis on research and development works in the field of new technologies. And from our interest includes drones, new agricultural machinery, technological processes, Industry 4.0, modern agriculture, clean energy, IoT, and many, many more. Also, we have some technology base which is agritechmarket.pl, and all inventions are of course legally protected. You can search for the invention in our base, and this is something new project. We have also a plan to increase this agritech market. Will be updated, of course, in the in the future. Yeah. And I want to share with you also about our activities with students. We have academic entrepreneurship. We provide access to the academic entrepreneurship and pre-incubator, which aims to promote and support academic entrepreneurship, including by creating special organizational and technical conditions that can facilitate the creation of new and the development of existing small and medium-sized companies. So it's the room near our office. Of course, we invite students, we invite entrepreneurs and other people to cooperate with us. And something about initiating cooperation through numerous activities connecting scientists and entrepreneurs, as well as students and entrepreneurs. So of course we are ambitious, and we have numbers of achievements, some medals, some diplomas, and we initiate R&D cooperation by participating in numerous networking initiatives. First of all, we create Forum Green Smart City. So it's the platform to cooperate with scientists, NGOs, and many other organizations. Of course, we are taking care of many projects in the field of innovation, technology transfer, for example, Build Your Startup or Incubator of Innovation 2.0, and now 4.0 next project this year. And for example, together with the Marshal's Office of the Lesser Poland Voivodeship, we implement a project entitled Innovative Safari. This is the event when scientists had the opportunity to meet entrepreneurs from various countries of the Małopolska province. So some kind of networking meetings with entrepreneurs and with scientists. And you have a link to our forum Green Smart City. We had till now 5 editions, and of course we have some plan for the future. And how about initiating R&D cooperation through numerous projects? You can see our link to our project incubator of Innovation 4.0. And from this year, we started Grant for Innovation Edition 2. So this is the competition to finance projects aimed at commercialization of the results of scientific research and employees of research and research teams of our university. And the funds are allocated to pre-implementation works and adapting the technology to market demand by increasing its Trl level. And this is the list of projects which are carried out under this big project Incubator of Innovation 4.0. Very interesting projects. For example, Pole Pecan Masco, total biodegradable packaging, new highway microwave device for destroying invasive plants. And we will be, of course, communicating the achievements of these projects at our website presented on the previous slide. And from this year, we started the Startup School, which are the workshops. And our main goal is to support university employees and research teams working for science. And our participants will gain experience and knowledge needed to create the foundation of their own business. For example, team building, strategic and operational activities, running a company, so building the company's strategy, business models, business presentations. And our trainings will also cover legal and accounting issues related to running your own business, so complex knowledge. And these are some pictures from our startup school workshops. And I want to share, of course, with you about our second spin-off company, which is Hugo Green Solution. And this is the company from the agri sector. And the goal of Hugo Green Solution is to improve the quality of food and human health thanks to use of innovative technology based on plant biostimulation. And as Jerzy mentioned, we have problems with pesticides and many other toxic substances to goes to soil, which are pollutants, and these are very important problems of our civilization. Yeah, world population 10 billion in 2050, and the global agricultural productivity gap index is also presented in the slide. So these are all problems. And in the future, we all, of course, want to have safe food. So we need solutions for that problems. And our innovative solution is the platform, which can adopt many agricultural objects. And Hugo is a platform, also is a robot. Hugo Growth Simulator. This is the device for the stimulating seeds and before sowing in the field or in the ground, and a device for stimulating plants in the field integrated with the agricultural robot. So plant biostimulation is based on the use of a proprietary algorithm that stimulates plant seeds and juvenile plants in the field cultivation. And agricultural robot, so a fully integrated self-prepared vehicle for irrigating plants in the early stage of growth, and with the possibility of using spot treatment related to spraying and foliar feeding of plants. And some beneficiaries, the larger beneficiaries may be farmers who cultivate plants using ecological conventional methods, for which the priority is to obtain high quality food and desire to accelerate the growth and development of herbs, agricultural plants, and grown under controlled conditions, including in tunnels and greenhouses, as well as in the field conditions. And some pictures of our solution. We have, of course, plans for the future, and our plan is to make the food system better for people's health. And this is some project which will be, of course, in the future very growing. Yeah, and our team, which are also persons who are today speakers, and contact to us. Yeah. And of course, to our Technology Transfer Center and our Innovation Center of our university, you have some links to our website. You can, of course, send us an email about the new projects we are carrying in our university. And of course, you can ask some questions if you want. We, of course, will be answering in the next days. Yeah. And it's for me, it's everything. So thank you very much for your attention.
So thank you very much, Mr. Wojciech, and I would like to ask any of the attendants if they have any particular questions to Mr. Wojciech, the presenter. If there are not, so I have some questions over here, and you know, the most interesting part is what I was going to ask about the spin-offs and spin-outs. What is your experience? Because there are different types of you know, like technology transfer bodies, which could be like organized for the future development of different technologies in precise farming. Which are most like successful, the spin-offs or spin-outs from your experience? Because I could just make the prediction, but I would like to ask if you have that already experience about this the efficiency of different types of like transferability types to the field.
Yeah, that's a good question. Of course, our spin-off companies are units which are some kind of connected with university, so they have also some practice from university, and of course support from university. And we have, like I mentioned, Hugo, which of course have our university have shares in this spin-off, so it is supported, yeah, in some case. For me, very important responsibility. So the spin out are some companies when the creators are responsible for all actions, and this is for me, this is the, I guess it will be better model, because the creators are fully responsible for their actions. They don't have some support from university, but of course, many scientists want to have some support, some advices, of course, from the Technology Transfer Center, from SPVs, from universities. So the both models are good, but it depends on the profile of the scientist, profile of the people who establish this company. So it's a very, very hard question, but I guess it depends on the creators. It depends on who are the people who create this spin-off, who are the people who create this spin-out company. We help in both cases, so we have experience in spin-offs, and this is our main experience, but I guess spin-out will be also very good form of establishing a company.
So from that came to the second question, since we are focusing like on the digital technologies implemented into the agriculture. So we're talking about drones, we're talking about the scanners, we're talking about GPS, we're talking about like steering the machinery and this kind of things. So my question is that technologies which are being developed are based on the trends which are observed on the market, and they are going like they are being like directly asked by the producers, farmers, machinery producers, which is basically from which source are the most R&D searches, like ideas come from?
Okay, hard question. I don't want to make a mistake and some bad advice, but yeah, a lot of branches which are popular, of course, drones and IoT, and maybe Tomasz would like to give some share some knowledge about this issue, because I don't want to make a mistake. Some advice.
Yes, maybe I will help. So from our past experience, we saw that sometimes that technology which are developing by our research team, it's not turned to the right direction, which is strictly connected with the market's needs. So that's why from that year we starting our program, Startup School, with which with that program, our research team with the help the people who are managing that program to turn to the right direction, to the direction to the market technologies which are need on the market. So this is our idea. So from year to year we are try to be more strictly connected with the market's needs, because we see that sometimes the research team have a problem with that. So it's not so easy. But we try to be smarter from year to year.
And conclusion could be that of course we should search for the client want. So the first of all business models, and next of course the improvement of our technologies in the direction where the market wants it. Yeah.
So are we talking about? I'm just in general question. Because I'm wondering, are we talking about improving the existing technologies, like introducing the new innovative aspects, or we are like trying to figure out a completely new approach to the used to be like a traditional technology?
We are of course both those example which you say right now, the completely new technology and also some changes in the already existing technology on the market.
Okay, so I think there are different approaches, and different universities, different technologies use different approaches. Since we are like advancing with the presentation, so Mr. Tomasz just start to talk. So we will just skip the break, and I will ask Mr. Tomasz to give his presentation, and it seems like after that presentation we will have a short break, then a short discussion, and then we will be summarizing our today's evening. So Mr. Tomasz, could you just proceed with your presentation?
A moment. Okay, I hope that you can see my presentation. Yes?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, so my name is Tomasz Czech. I'm representing today the University of Agriculture in Krakow. I'm over there. I'm a head of Technology Transfer Center, and I also cooperate and support our spin out companies. I'm also still try to be the active researcher, because I'm go straightly from the research team to the transfer center, and I goes from the Department of Agriculture and Environmental Chemistry. That's why my background is strictly focusing on the agriculture 4.0. And what about the topic which I will so building a cluster producers group and 4.0. The agriculture 4.0 is comprised of different already operational or developing technologies such as robotics, nanotechnology, synthetic proteins, cellular agriculture, gen editing technology, artificial intelligence, blockchain, machine learning, which may have pervasive effect on future agriculture and food system and major transformative potential. And this technology, of course, are the concepts of vertical farming, food system, digital agriculture, of course, about what mentioned Jerzy, bioeconomy, circular agriculture, and aquaponics. We think that more attention is needed for the inclusion and exclusion effect of agriculture 4.0 technology, and for reflection on how they relate to the diverse transition pathways towards sustainable agriculture and food system driven by mission or innovation system. What about the world market? The current market is still dominated by traditional companies, but new disruptive players are increasingly entering into the market and strengthen their market position. Each type of market players has dedicated offering, and we have agriculture, original equipment manufacturers, so traditional companies which are offering hardware and at the same time software solution. Suppliers, so traditional suppliers which are providing a broad portfolio of advanced components. Seeds companies, ITB. Much the startup sense concentrates on the development of smart apps for the agriculture market. Of course, we have also in that market investment funds and traders, private or public funds are. And of course, research centers such as, for example, university and research publish studies, which are research and centers publish studies and develop the prototype for the future application. What about the technology development business opportunities? To identify the most promising technologies, I would like to present you a technology roadmap through the 2030 for major agriculture 4.0 technologies. The technologies roadmap predicts all developments driven by enhanced connectivity. Farming process will future application of imaginary and sensor will increase big data, and digitalization will become more popular. Engineering will be a future development. What about the value chain? Along the agriculture value chain, the several strategic control points can be identified, which are allocated to the steps: inputs, supplying, production, post-harvest, processing, and distribution marketing. From agriculture 4.0 perspective, only the first three steps, so input, supplying, production, and post-harvest, are value which are interested us. And this perspective is excuse me. And this perspective are also influent on strategic plan of European Union development and face into the key challenge for the agriculture sector, which is feed the growing global population, at the same time reducing environmental impact of the agriculture and preserving natural resources for the future generation. That's why the new European development strategy, New Green Deals, propose that agriculture activities should be sustained by environmental condition, which allows the farmers to harness natural resources, create their produce, and earn a living. In turn, the money brought in by agriculture sustain farm families and rural communities, will the food produced by the agriculture sustain society as a whole. So how to do it, that transformation and achieve the main goals of that strategy? This is not so easy task, but it seems that it can be achieved by the creating the world-class the managers of innovation leaders in the agriculture 4.0 in the best, for example, such as a few years ago, the Polish Ministry of Science and Higher Education said the program with which they sent the scientists from the different universities in a group of 30 people for 2 months to the best universities such as Stanford, Berkeley, Oxford, where the scientists were trained in the business school in various areas, such as the innovation, intellectual property, the entrepreneurship, design thinking method, management and leadership, communication and negotiation skills, site visit in the companies, internship at the university. And this program should, of course, consist of many things. For example, a different modern method in the development and creativity, any out-of-the-box thinking, because we have people from Poland have the not always good mentality, so we need that experience. What more, it should consist also the many exercises in make managers more emphatic to better understanding the market needs for better empathizing the client. Of course, it should consist also many exercises in making managers more structured in creating the innovative solution with using strategy execution map, business canvas model or other methods. Of course, it should consist also the once again the more structured in creating the innovative solution with for example using a design thinking method, which have at the end of the creation process the building a prototype and tested it, and after the feedback from the end user for making the changes in the final product or technologies. Of course, it should also consist many exercise in business presentation in a different way. For example, elevator pitch or Pecha Kucha presentation. Of course, also the important are the part in the site visit in which we could see from the perspective of employee how to innovative companies looks like from the inside. Of course, it is also important to have a site visit at the university different units for being impacted by the organizational model and try make the organizational model to transfer that organizational model maybe to the our country condition. And at the end, what is the starting point of that transformation? The answer from me is to create from that background, from the abroad, is to create a cluster living labs or producers group in which companies with end user and researcher can create new innovative technologies which are needed on the market. For example, with a new development strategy which involve the co-developing, so between the researcher companies and the farmers, then testing and evaluate new technology. For example, with using a design thinking method, which is include focusing on the end user focusing and work in interdisciplinary team. And as much as is possible, the focus on experimenting, so testing the new technology or new products on the real life, so in the farm. And what about the agro-based cluster ABCs? According to the definition, this is the network of or connection and interaction that gives the ability to generate a sustainable competitive advantages within a given location, advantages resulting from the efficiency use of and their locality available resources, appropriate specialization, as well as cooperation and coordination of various activities. And important determination, the cluster has good communication and the ability to cooperate between the enterprise administration units and institutional environment, including an educational part and research and development unit. Different kind of intensity, connection, and relation between these entities and the presence of the network connection and cooperation determine the strength of the, of course, the strength of the cluster. We have different type of a cluster. We could divide the cluster for a geographical cluster, for example, the flower cluster in Rotterdam and in Amsterdam. For example, a sectoral cluster about which I such as, for example, IT cluster, the Silicon Valley in the California region at the United States. What about the the agriculture-based cluster? According to the papers, we could divide the agriculture-based cluster to the agriculture cluster, in which the fresh but low-quality agriculture products are marketed without strict grading and processing and and also we could divide the agro-industrial cluster, in which agricultural products are graded or proceed by industrial factory for the marketing. Business. What about the business benefits for the cluster partner? Of course, the easier access to specialized suppliers and service providers, better access to the deeper and more specialized labor market, greater opportunities for establishing cooperation with scientists and scientific facilities. Of course, the initiatives give also the advantages for the partner in increasing the possibility of influencing the environment, participation in implementation of joint ventures in lowering their unit costs, access to the new market and technological information collected by the or for research and technology transfer, exchange the knowledge with practitioners, and adjust the direction and scope of the education to the labor market, which affect in increasing the overall attractive for the of the institution. So right now I would like to talk about the good example of the agriculture cluster. The first one, I will talk about the few clusters in the world, and at the end I would like to play a introduction movie. I will try to play I think 3 movies about each of the agriculture cluster. Of course, if we have at the end a time. The first one is Rothamsted Research Institute, which is located close to the London in UK. Their main strategy is to building their unique ability to work across a different scale discipline. And what they to do, they wish to deliver know-how, data, better practice, and new technologies to improve performance, resilience, and value, raise the productivity of a crop, livestock system, tackle weeds, disease, and insect resistance to agrochemical, and improve soil health, and add novel nutritional health of bioeconomical value to crops or other products. The second one is, I think, the most of the listeners knows that a cluster, the Wageningen University and Research. This is the first place agricultural university in the for sure in the Europe, but I think for sure also in the world, and that university is divided for the 6 cluster actually. The food science, the cluster of food science, nutritional science, bio-based science, biomolecular science, animal in the future food system, and society, cluster population dynamics and genomics, and integrative animal biology. Their chair group at that Wageningen University Research, the fundamental of the Wageningen Research Group is conducted by a chair. That chair group. Each group are leadership of a professor. It is no area of expertise. And the third it is that site in the Spain is specialized in the vegetable and fruit cultivation cluster. Sometimes they are named such as plastic cluster because the mostly they are cultivation and producing the vegetables for all over the world. And for Europe are cultivated under covering the plastic, the greenhouses. So from the air they look like over here. And the next example is the Jiangsu Academy of Agricultural Science from China. This is the Comprehensive Agricultural Research Institutes, which have in their strategy to make agriculture more productive and sustainable to the technology and innovation. And I have a chance to be a few years ago in that Academy of Agriculture for a site. And right now, I will try, if we have enough time, but and some introduction movies. Okay.
The world has got a real problem. By the end of the 20th century, there were 6 billion people on the planet. By there'll be 8 billion. We're going to need about 40% more food.
Czy widać może? Excuse me, do you see the video?
I see the video, but it stopped.
Okay, excuse me.
We're going to need a lot more energy. These are enormous challenges. And an organization like Rothamsted, by focus on human ingenuity and actually thinking about the technology that comes from science, make an enormous difference.
We are one of the few institutions left in the United Kingdom that still has both the breadth and depth to
It's fundamental to the future of UK farming. Agriculture, the food industry, is our largest manufacturing sector, so it is absolutely vital that our world-class food and farming sector is underpinned by the UK's world-leading science.
So our primary strategy is to integrate agricultural science to very high-quality science in the context of solving global problems. And we address this in 3 big science portfolios: superior crops, secure productivity, and future agricultural systems. We work from just in the UK, but also globally.
Going forward, we see a big future in collaborating with Rothamsted, which is all about really tackling the speeding up of adoption of new technology, innovation on farm, low productivity and competitiveness.
It's that important link between science in the laboratory and its applied form out of the...
So there are 5 issues the world is facing to which we want to contribute: global food security, highly interconnected risks, technology integration, healthier diets, and a wider, greener bioeconomy.
A big part of this new approach is bringing research and knowledge exchange really tightly intertwined.
And brilliant minds within Rothamsted that can start to target new science that can enhance the pharmaceutical properties, the nutritional properties out on the farm, or just the environmental impact of our businesses. But we'll also make sure that policy makers understand that science and agriculture need to work closely together for the good of the whole country.
The better science we have available to us, the more competitive we can be.
We need to produce more food, safe food, traceable food, to get ahead of the curve.
Having a sounder, safer food system benefiting the whole of society. That is really what Rothamsted is all about.
We've always been at the forefront of agricultural science, and we will remain that. We address new problems and new ways of working with many partners worldwide, so it's a great opportunity to be part of that.
And of course, right now the next movies.
Maybe we should skip that movie because we don't hear anything. Panie Tomaszu, czy pan mnie słyszy? No właśnie piszę do nich, żeby to zatrzymali, ale nikt nic w ogóle nie słyszy.
To słychać pana.
Okay.
Probably I have the problem with a not very good internet connection.
Pani, we didn't hear anything, so I would propose to stop it. I have just few questions about your presentation, if you allow me, and then we can maybe. So if you have anything more just to add.
Yes. Of course, I have something more because I don't talk anything about the living labs because
okay. So
and about the some things about the association of technology transfer and the university companies. So I will try to continue. Maybe it's better idea to copy the link from that slides because I of course share with you those my presentation and to play yourself to know more about those institutions. About the living labs, the quite new ideas such as living labs, the example of that way of create a cluster is, for example, the Canadian Living Labs, which is an initiative which mainly based on three core principles. So it's focusing on the farmers' needs, broad and diverse partnerships, such as the partner of the cluster, such as farmers, multidisciplinary team of scientists and researchers, other collaborators, the companies, and the initiative for which are strictly work together for developing the new technologies and new products for the implementing for the farm. And at the end, the testing in the real life context, so the testing in the farm. The next, but from the next Living Lab, which is also a good example of cooperation in that way. This is the European example. Here we have the AgriLink, in which also we have our Polish member, so CDR in Brwinów. Each consists the 16 partners, which is working in analysis of governments and policy for implementing to better understanding the implementation and new technology for farmers. And the next example is also the Agro-Cluster Kujawy Association for Innovation and Development. They are also work in the conducting activities that will serve the development of association companies and initiation cooperation between entrepreneurship and in agribusiness sectors. More or less, they have of course, the same vision, such as most of the cluster which I mentioned you before, and that's the example from our region. This is the cluster of life science in Krakow, in which we are as a university, and also as the university companies, also the member of that cluster. This is a life science cluster. It's set in 2016. For that moment, it's a lot from a few years ago. They are still developed through that year, and they proposed many networks, includes the various type of institutions, such as service and production companies, university research institutes, and other institution which serve their help in creation and developing new technologies and new products which can be implemented on the market. Cluster organize also many different events. For example, a life science open space, which is an open forum for cooperation and innovation for health and quality of life. For example, the next conference will be set on November 2021. And what about the association of the Polish Center for Technology Transfer? We have also the cluster of Polish CTT of universities. We cooperate strongly, but our main aim is to make impact of our Polish university and with their technologies and innovative product to the European and world market. Of course, we cooperate together. We have also as association our website in which we propose the catalog of our of the technologies from our universities and from our research teams. Because we also representing over here with Wojtek the university companies. There is also a few years ago was set the Association of Polish University Companies. They cooperate together for be there to driving force for mainly for driving. We wish to be a driving force for set up spin-off and startup companies which should germinate from the university technology and are set by our research teams. Of course, this is the list of the university, and we have also the university companies, and of course we have also website. We invite you for that website. We describe over there how you could cooperate with us and in what things we could support you in the meaning on new technology or cooperation with the university team. And I think that's everything from my side. Of course, thank you very much, organizer, for their invitation, and we hope we have fulfilled your hope. And of course, this is a contact from our university organization in which you could find us on daily basis. So thank you very much for listening to me. And if you have some question, I'm open for that.
I wonder if any of the participants has any questions, and if there's someone who wants to ask, just please do right now. Otherwise, I have a question which is I think it could be interesting. So, is anyone else wanted to ask something? Okay, that's gonna be me. We were talking about the role of the clusters and the living lab in that agricultural business, but I was thinking about differentiating the role of clusters. What is your opinion? Which would be the main the main focus of the clusters? It's about raising people's skills within agriculture, which means like production technologies and effectiveness, efficiency, or shall it be like the main focus on the development of the new technologies, improvement of the technologies, or maybe clusters shall act as a potential new market searchers? And what is your opinion? In which way the clusters are more effective?
I think the way and strategy how the cluster should work, it comes from the experience of the cluster, which have the greatest success in the world. For example, the good example is the Silicon Valley cluster, in which they engage in developing and creation new innovative products or technology, the end user. This is a good idea. In my opinion, in Europe, we have a problem with that. So that's why that many organizations and many financial resources are not spending quite good, because because we have a problem with that. We should engage the companies, the end user, the researcher, and all of three parties which you mentioned in the question to finally have the product or technologies which is answering for the truly needs of farmers. Yeah. So if the whole of the parties which are interested in developing new technology and then at the end use that technology in the farm don't cooperate together, we don't have a succeed at the end. So this is my opinion, and this is opinion from our experience.
So we are talking more likely about the vertical than horizontal clusters. Yes.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay. What about that concept of the living lab? It's a fairly new concept since maybe 2 years, and I've seen that concept in many different occasions, like smart city development, like social development, and now we're talking about agriculture. Is it also related to the Industry 4.0 technologies as we are talking today?
Yes, of course, and I seems it's came really from the idea of which the United States Research Center are developing. So from the design thinking method, because at the end, in the creation of new technology, we should ask the end user what they think about that product or what they think about the new technology, and we should give them for testing that technology. And that's why the Living Lab, the base and ground of Living Lab is also invite for creation the farmers. Yeah, so this is the idea, and from our side we see that the many new living clubs are creating all over the Europe. Even a few months ago, we have an invitation. One of our research team have an invitation for the new Green Deal project from that resources for creating the couple of the living labs in all over the Europe. So yes, from 2 years, this is a new idea for some kind of the cluster, I think. But everything is say that this is the new idea implemented from North of America, I think, and from their experience.
But what about because we are like a bit different than United States here in Europe. We have like a very big. They have like farms of the very big areas and very specialized in here. But here in Europe there are different kinds of, especially in Poland, maybe Hungary and maybe Italy. We have farms with the very small area. Do they also like trying to like organize themselves into that kind of living clubs and clusters?
Yes, I think yes, because that's giving them the advantages and support them in many things. Because if you are a big numbers of the small farmers have a big force for implementing a new law, for implementing a new strategy, for financial resources from the European budget and other things. So this is a good idea, and I think for Europe, the Living Club is our close future. This is the close future for creating the numerous of Living Club in Europe.
This could be nice because, as we've seen on the first presentation, there will be many sources for additional money or co-funding, and the group of producers could be like more specialized, and then they could be like better served, and they've got better funding and could be more focused on with the specialization. As we know that we cannot avoid introduction of the Industry 4.0 digital technologies into the farming, so it's understandable. So thank you, Mr. Tomasz, for your presentation. Very nice, and we would like. I think we will get those presentations, and we will we send them to all the attendees of the meeting, so they can see that that movies you wanted to present, because Microsoft Teams is not the best way to show the movies. So thank you very much for your presentation. I think we have reached skipping the breaks. We have reached the end of the training. I'm very grateful that you have shared your information with us. Of course, we did not covered all the areas which are maybe interested, but maybe in the future trainings, or maybe on bilateral meetings, or exchange of the emails, we can exchange more information. And I hope you'll be still available for our project, since we are also performing the pilot action in that isobos technologies here. If any of the project partners has or attendees has any questions right now, please ask. Otherwise, we will finish our meeting a bit of 1 hour ahead of schedule. But I think we've covered everything, and that is the last possibility to ask questions. Luca, we don't hear you.
Okay, sorry. If there are no questions, I wanted to thank all the partners for attending the meeting, and thank you for all the speakers that provided us a very good knowledge. And of course, I'm speaking from CREA, that is the leader partner of Transfarm 4.0. And I hope that, and I think we can keep us in contact and help each other. Also for Transfarm could be a good opportunity to exchange knowledge and to develop a network in Central Europe and to promote cooperation. So thank you very much for your content and your presentations, and we will be in touch and talk to you soon.
And I hope that COVID situation will improve greatly very soon, and we will be all vaccinated, that we can set up the meeting here in Poland, and we will maybe late fall, before the winter, when we will be providing introducing the second part of our pilot action, so we can meet and we can exchange our experiences. So thank you very much to all of you, and see you in the next events.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.